I think we just Wrath of God right here. We plumbed the Forbidden. Sack a creature, draw a card, lose a life. Okay. Copy this spell for each creature sacrificed this way. Oh.
Today on Commander Replay, it's more graveyard action as we check out this Patreon-submitted Alesha deck. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, help support me and save 15% on singles by using the promo code REPLAY at mothershipaTX.com. Commander Replay t-shirts, available in orange and colors beside orange.
Well, welcome back everyone, playing some Alesha Who Smiles at Death. Today's deck list comes to us from Patreon supporter Jared. Take a look at this opener. We got a Goblin Bombardment, a Magus of the Disc, and a Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp's pretty good, so I think we'll go ahead and keep this one. You can get a lot done with the Skull Clamp. That brings it to our turn one, just lands for our opponents. And we will go with a tap land and pass the turn like that. If I was paying closer attention, I probably would have gone for this Myriad Landscape first, just on the off chance that like an Ancient Tomb, Mana Crypt, something like that shows up. I think a Soul Ring would do it. Playing on tap land, yeah, Soul Ring would do it too. So hopefully we don't get punished for that. Filigree Familiar. Coming in, opponent's going to gain 2 life. Seems pretty good in a Glissa deck, yeah. Mind Stone for our opponent, and that'll bring it to our turn 2. A lot of tap lands, hitting all the tap lands right now. So I guess we get the Myriad Landscape in this turn. We'll get the Skull Clamp in. Actually, there's kind of a lot of lands in general. We are flooding a little bit, so we will need to get some work done with that Skull Clamp, because this hand, starting to flood. Brainstone. Opponent plays and cracks a Brainstone, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library, so essentially Brainstorm on an artifact. Yeah, that seems really good for a Glissa deck. I'm going to have to try that in some other places. Like, I'm very curious. Is a Brainstorm outside of blue really good? I don't know. Like, does a regular Boros deck want this? I'm not sure. I'll tell you what probably does, though, my Sisay deck. Oh, the Sisay deck definitely wants this. 1, because the Sisay does use Glissa, and 2, because the Sisay deck is prone to some really bad opening hands. Occasionally you get, like, all your 5, 6, and 7 drops in your opener. Talking about Legendary Blades, by the way. And it's a real bad time. Also, the Angels deck might be able to use this, because that deck, too, is also prone to lots of big things in the opener. But that deck has a bunch of wheels in it, although, you know, might be worth it. The question, I guess, is do you just go, like, Faithless Looting instead and just loot them, since it is a Reanimator? I don't know. Anyway, Tormod coming in for opponent. We'll take a look at opponent's commanders in a second. Let's go ahead and play the Swamp. And we'll just crack the Myriad Landscape right here, get some ramp going. What's the main color in this deck? Doesn't appear to be white. Looks like it's black more than anything, so we'll get a bunch of swamps. Decent amount of red, though. Workshop Assistant for opponent. Ooh, nice. They've got a Westvale Abbey and a Cabal Stronghold in play. Got some fancy lands over there. Westvale Abbey is really fun when you get it flipped over. Kaalia coming in. So taking a look at our commander, we are playing Alesha Who Smiles at Death. 3 mana for the 3/2 first strike. Whenever it attacks, you may pay white-black hybrid. If you do, return target creature card with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So, Reanimator for small stuff. And there's some combos you can do with this. We've got the Revelark combo in the deck. We'll take a look at what our opponents are playing. We've started talking about it a little bit, but Eric is playing Glissa the Traitor. Cool little card. Very unique in what it does. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's able to loop artifacts and do a bunch of graveyard stuff with artifacts. It's kind of cool. Able to generate a lot of value. I don't know if there's like true infinite combos for Glissa, but there's definitely stuff like, I think if you get like a Psychosis Crawler and like something you can recur a lot, I'm pretty sure I've died to that in the past. But yeah, Glissa's a cool little card and one that you got to watch out for, especially as we get later into the game and they have a lot of mana they can do with stuff. They'll have a lot of moving pieces and a lot of like recurable value and also probably some recurable removal, which can be very scary. So yeah. Anyway, that brings us back to our turn. There's a Necrotic Sliver. That was the one we needed in the last game, but didn't have the mana. What are we doing right here? We can be on 5 mana. Does 5 mana matter that much? Oh, we can just Skull Clamp a High Priest. That's what we can do. Non-land permanent, you say. Liquid Metal Torque. Target non-land permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types until end of turn. I have a feeling that I'm not terribly interested in what that card has to offer. I guess there's also a Kaalia on the board, so we should probably do something with that Kaalia. Let's play this High Priest of Penance. Skull Clamp the High Priest of Penance. Oh, that's dealt damage? It says dealt damage. Whoops, no one saw that. It does not say dies. There's a Wrath of God. That's fine, actually. So we can salvage that punt. The cards are worth it. We can play a red and get the Goblin Bombardment into play. Seems like a good idea. Sean could potentially drop something big down, and then we can just blow it all up, and he might be in kind of a rough spot after that, especially if Glissa comes in right here, they might get a bunch of artifacts back. That's a thing, actually. Yeah, this Wrath of God makes me feel pretty good, though. After that, we can get Redain. I love Redain, and in particular, I love this art of Redain. That's an Immortal Sun. Those are good. Redain does not hard lock the game against your opponents like some hate bears can, but it just slows them down, keeps them from being able to do too much, play a lot of big spells in a turn. So it's just something that I really like. The 2/3 Flying Vigilance body is also good. Occasionally, I don't know that Commander has heavily adopted Snowlands, but if your opponent's playing Snowlands, you can also get them with that too and put them in slow motion. So just does a lot of nice things. And occasionally, if you're against the right deck, you can play Valkmira. You'll see the decks that have the 1 damage triggers on it, and you can stop all those, and that's fantastic. Opponent shot our Goblin Bombardment with a Wear Tear, so down that goes. They also shot the Immortal Sun. That's a pretty good play. I'm sad we had to lose our Goblin Bombardment, but getting rid of an Immortal Sun, probably a pretty good idea. There's a Goldspan Dragon coming at us. Yep, can't do much with that. Crypt Gas for opponent. Ancient Craving, love Ancient Craving. Probably something Sean needs in his deck. I do feel like his Kaalia deck runs out of cards rather easily. And that's an easy thing to solve in Mardu. There is card draw in Mardu. Mana Crypt for opponent. That's a Ruinous Ultimatum. That'll be really handy later in the game. I think we just Wrath of God right here. We don't have, amazing follow-ups, but I think it's just good. Get this going. We get enough value that I'm very comfortable with. That's 6 creatures going down, 2 commanders. All seems pretty good. Plumb the Forbidden. Sack a creature, draw a card, lose a life. Okay. Copy this spell for each creature sacrificed this way. Oh. Let's take a full read of this. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice 1 or more creatures. When you do, copy the spell for each creature sacrificed this way. You draw 1 card and lose a life for each time that you do it. It's pretty good, actually. Really good for an Aristocrats deck. Potentially something you could consider for this deck. Tokens deck, also. Workshop Assistant is going to return another artifact from their graveyard to their hand. Does look like it was the Immortal Sun, so that'll probably be coming back. Oh, God, I just missed our land drop. That's not what I wanted to do. I think I hit the F2 button when I was not supposed to. That's not great. That's not great. I do not make a lot of mistakes like that. I'm very intentional about my clicking on Magic Online, and that's a rarity. I just forgot what I was doing. Immortal Sun coming back to play. Might be okay, though, with, this Magus of the Disc. You can really slow the game down with something like this. Varagoth. That's a pretty good one. Our final opponent, by the way, is Mango, piloting Tormod the Desecrator and Nadier, Agent of Duskanel. Tormod says, whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token that is tapped. And it partners. Nadier says, whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever Nadier leaves the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens equal to its power. So, a lot of graveyard, sacrificey stuff going on over there. There's a Grim Tutor. It is surprising to me how much less good Grim Tutor is than Demonic Tutor. 1 additional mana makes it almost fair, in my opinion. It's still very good, and if you're running some sort of combo deck, high power combo deck, you're gonna run this. But you definitely feel that 3 mana cost, also the life loss too, because black decks already burn a lot of their own life, so you got another card that, Mango's at 25, the rest of us are in the 30s still. When it comes to Alpha Strike time, that is a thing you have to worry about. So, yeah, it is surprising to me how much less good Grim Tutor is than Demonic Tutor. But still a tutor, so still very powerful in a singleton format. Sifter of Skulls. Yeah, those are good. There's a Plains. We're on 5 still. I think I'm going to play Vault of the Archangel, get Alesha. If we played our land last turn, we could put Skull Clamp on one of them, and that would make me much happier. And then I think we'll also drop in Redain. And we'll pass like that. Path to Exile on the Redain. At least we ramp. At least we ramp. Let's get some white. Do seem to have some white costs in the hand. And, I'm fine with that. That Path to Exile on Redain means that that's not going on like a Revel Arc or a Karmic Guide or something really important that we need. And that's kind of the power of Hate Bears, too, is that if you run just a couple Hate Bears, a couple key Hate Bears, someone at the table's probably going to have to spend removal on it, and that's removal that they can't spend on whatever big thing you're trying to keep alive. or whatever important piece your deck has. So, you know, I've really noticed the value of hate bears and how people have to play around them with removal and stuff like that, and just how much impact they can give you. And I'm not suggesting you need to, like, hard stacks lock the game, but, you know, the one I talk about so much is just a Hushbringer. Hushbringer shuts down so many different deck types that someone has to deal with it before their deck can start to operate, and it's just a really good thing to have. Similarly, Aven Mind Sensor is also very good. I don't run it quite as much because 3 mana does tend to get a little clunky sometimes, but the same idea though. And, you know, lands decks and black decks, not gonna love having an Aven Mind Sensor in play. Opponent gets themselves a Scrapyard Recombiner, has modular, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for a construct card, reveal it, put it into your hand. Interesting. Might be a little bit slow, but I think Walking Ballista is a construct. Smothering Tithe for opponent, those are very strong. Not great for our Skull Clamp plans. Opponent's gonna poison the crop this Varagoth. Down goes Varagoth. I am very excited to try out this Magus of the Disc. Seems like it could be pretty good in this deck. The ability to get that back, really strong. Mirror Retriever. When it dies, they can bring back an artifact. They have none in their graveyard currently. There's an Ashnod's Altar. Seems good. Nim Death Mantle, they're close. They are close. Blood Artist, not ideal. Not ideal. That is infinite now. That path is looming large. Yeah, I mean, Redain probably... No, I guess that's 2 mana. Yeah, I guess Redain doesn't really stop that, but the path would stop it. Yeah, I guess we scoop it here. We could have played a little differently in this one. There was a chance to just drop the Magus of the Disc, and then you can just sit there with your finger on the trigger. That's always a fun thing to do, and that'll stop a combo like that. But... Alesha is a weird deck. And maybe we didn't have the best opener. Yeah, we kind of flooded a little bit. But Alesha it's just positioned really strangely, in my opinion. Creatures have gotten so good and so big now that, like, everything you play in an Alesha deck feels very small. And I think Alesha really does just want to be a hard combo deck now because of how small your creatures feel relative to everything else and how quick and compact games have kind of gotten. I think it's kind of hard to really wear people's life down with Alesha in the same way that you used to. It just, you know, doesn't quite do the same thing anymore. So, I don't know. Maybe just a little bit of an unlucky game right there. I feel like there are things we could do in the deck. Probably... I don't know, this deck probably needs like another piece of removal or 2. I think I really just want to see like a Chaos Warp or a Generous Gift in here. That kind of got us game 1. Having 1 in hand right there would have been helpful to deal with the combo to break that up. Maybe a Dismantling Wave, but yeah, I don't know. I think we just got a little bit unlucky. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.
I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon, the link below.